I've 34 female spent the last 10 plus years building my own online business from scratch. It wasn't easy. Years of no sleep, constant stress, and scraping by while I poured everything into this. Fast forward to now, and I'm doing well financially. But I worked hard for this. Nothing came easy, and I gave up a lot to get where I am now. Then there's my younger sister, Amy, 29 female. Amy has, a bit of a spending problem. She's always loved the finer things in life. Designer bags, fancy vacations, expensive dinners, but unlike me, she doesn't work for it. She floats between jobs or relies on credit cards to fund her lifestyle. Over the past few years, Amy's come to me for money multiple times. At first it was small stuff, like needing help with rent or her credit card bills, and being her sister, I helped. I felt bad for her and thought maybe she'd get things under control, but she didn't. If anything, her spending habits just got worse. Whenever I'd give her money, she'd go out and buy some luxury item or take a random trip somewhere extravagant. A few weeks ago, she asked me for help again. This time she wanted a lot of money to cover her debt. I'm talking thousands, and I just couldn't. I told her no, that I wouldn't keep bailing her out unless she seriously changed her spending habits. I even suggested she started budgeting and maybe cut back on all the unnecessary stuff. Well, she didn't take that well. Amy accused me of being selfish and greedy. She said that because I'm doing well financially, it's cruel not to help her out when she's struggling. She even said that it was easy for me because I didn't have the same pressures as she did. But here's the kicker. My family is on her side. My parents, who are aware of Amy's spending, are still saying I should help her because family helps family. They've been calling me cold and heartless for not giving her what she needs, saying that I'm just letting her drown while I'm sitting comfortably. And my cousins are backing them up, saying it's not a big deal for me since I'm financially well off now. But I worked my idiot off to get here. I didn't just wake up one day with money. I sacrificed my social life, didn't travel for years, and lived in a crappy apartment. Also, I could build something for myself. And I feel like they're entirely ignoring that part. They just see me as someone with money now, so they think it's my obligation to help her out. Honestly, I'm torn. I don't want to be the sister who lets her family down, but I also feel like enabling Amy is doing her no favors. She's never going to learn and manage her finances if I keep rescuing her. Plus, it's unfair for them to expect me to hand over my hard-earned money because she can't control her spending. So, am I the idiot for saying no? Should I just suck it up and help her out again? Or am I right to put my foot down this time? Not the idiot. Family helps family is always a massive red flag. She's just going to blow the money because that's what she's always done before, and she has no reason to not do it again. It's not like she's promising she's going to change or anything. She just wants your money to enable her to live her chosen lifestyle. If family helps family, then why isn't everyone else stepping up? I can guarantee none of them would just be freely forking over their cash whenever she asked if they were well off. Now, all of a sudden, family helps family, but everyone's only mooching off one of the hardworking family members who worked her idiot off to achieve financial freedom. If she has designer bags and other items, she can sell those to pay her debts and, get a job. Not the idiot, but all those pressuring you absolutely are. Sister is too, but she's being enabled. So it's time for everyone to stop coddling the golden child. Create a GoFundMe page for your sister and send them a link. Congratulations, and well done on all your hard work to get where you are. I, 22 female, live with my boyfriend, 23 male, and another couple, both 22. We all moved in together simultaneously, and the woman in the couple was a high school friend. They already had a cat, and I decided to adopt a dog after settling in. I've struggled with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and ADD, and I found that living with a dog helps. Plus, I plan to move abroad in a year and want a familiar companion. Before getting the dog, I asked my roommates how they felt, and they were fine with it since they already had a cat, and their cat liked dogs. I adopted a mixed breed dog, and I worked hard to potty train him. No accidents for 3 months. I also invested in professional training, and he's doing advanced obedience classes. The main issue is my dog has separation anxiety. When we're at work for 8 hours, he used to cry, bark, throw up, and even escape his crate. To help, I walked him in the mornings, did light training, and hired a dog walker. That became too expensive, so I started leaving him in my room with a chew toy. This reduced some behaviors, but my roommate still complained about his whining. I eventually sent him to a $2,000 board and train program. Since returning, he no longer cries and whines or escapes his crate, and he's no longer destructive. However, he still barks once every 2 to 10 minutes for about 4 hours. And I've been working with a trainer, but my roommates don't think the progress is enough. They've asked me to rehome him, saying it's unfair that he's crated for 8 hours and that the barking is disruptive. My dog came from a shelter, and I've done everything possible to give him a better life. He gets daily park visits, plenty of exercise, vet visits, etc. He comes on trips and hikes with me and socializes with my mom's dog. He's not perfect, but he's made progress, and I don't think rehoming is the answer. I also feel entitled to keep him due to other roommate issues. I've spent over $1,100 on shared house items, and they've never contributed or helped with chores. They've clogged our shower drain, and my boyfriend paid the plumber. The woman sometimes flirts with my boyfriend or tries to villainize me, which is uncomfortable. When they mention dog issues, they say, "You need to take care of it," even though I'm at work. It's usually 7 a.m. When I mentioned contacting the trainer or rehoming, the woman immediately latched on to rehoming, offering to help find him a new home, which felt insensitive. I've been quiet about these frustrations because they've been patient while my dog's in training, but I feel like I deserve to keep him after everything I've handled. Rehoming is not the right solution. Am I the idiot for refusing to rehome my dog, even though my roommates want him gone? You are the idiot. Your dog is legitimately disruptive. They're not complaining about nothing. They're complaining about actual nuisance behavior. Not only that, their request is ultimately compassionate. Your efforts show that you've tried everything, but this is not a happy dog. This is a dog who is suffering, and rehoming him to a situation where he will not have to be alone for between hours all day is better for him too. You crate your dog for 8 hours? You don't have time for a dog. That's just mean. If you want to keep the dog, it's time to move out with your boyfriend and get your place. Good luck finding a place without neighbors who'll complain about a dog barking every 2 to 10 minutes for 4 hours. That is a lot. Also, what do you plan to do next year? Take the dog abroad with you? Rehome, rehome, rehome. You are the idiot. This situation is shameful, and maintaining it is on you, no matter how hard you've tried. Growing up, my sister was always average to slightly chubby, but a few years ago, she got married and then suddenly became super skinny. We hadn't seen her for a few months after her wedding, so it was a huge shock when we finally saw her thin body. I honestly thought she had anorexia or something like that. My parents even asked her if she was unwell, and her husband was the one who brushed us all off and made a comment about how beautiful she looked. Over the years, it's become very obvious that her skinny body is her husband's choice. She barely eats these days when before, her appetite rivaled the men in the family. I've noticed she eats less when her husband is here, which is directly because he shoots everyone down when we try to express any concern for her, even if it's subtle. Yesterday, my cousin was gushing over how good my sister looked and complaining that she didn't have the willpower to get to her weight. My sister didn't say much, but my sister-in-law, brother's wife, and cousins agreed and quarreled about my sister's weight. I didn't think it was good or healthy that they were romanticizing her weight, as some of my cousins are young teens. So I warned them that being skinny wasn't healthy, and the only reason my sister was that skinny was that she had to be because of her husband. The cousin who originally brought up the topic joked that she would do it too if she had my sister's life, and then changed the subject. So I thought that was the end of it. However, my sister confronted me when we were alone and yelled at me for making her husband seem like some toxic, controlling misogynist. She accused me of being jealous and not knowing what I was talking about. My sister isn't a confrontational person, and it was completely out of character for her to react that way. So I apologized, even though I stood by what I said. She hasn't forgiven me, so was I the idiot? You are the idiot. Even if you knew for sure your sister had an eating disorder or was in an abusive or controlling relationship, your actions are that of an idiot. You embarrassed and demeaned her in front of a group. If she does need help, you've shown yourself as someone not to go to for her. Then you gave her a perfunctory apology that you told us you didn't mean. People can tell when someone isn't being genuine. You're assuming your sister lost weight because her husband made her. Maybe this was her decision. Was husband not with her before the wedding, which is when you saw she lost weight? If he really was forcing her to be thin, wouldn't he have done it before this point? Husband probably shoots you down when you express concern because it's rude and probably hurts your sister's feelings to be accused of having an eating disorder. OP, do you actually mean really skinny compared to me and the rest of the family? All your actions reek of jealousy and not genuine concern for your sister. If you really want to help someone, that's not the way to go. You're hiding behind words like slightly chubby, and it very much avoids actual health concerns around being obese. There may be legitimate health reasons that your sister is battling to keep her weight down. Your sister's a grown adult and capable of making her own choices. Let her do that and respect the fact that she's under no obligation to justify those choices to anyone, not even her family. My twin sister has autism. The older she gets, the more trouble she has interacting with people and calming herself. When she was younger, she could self-soothe and do other things so much better than now. Her behavior is way worse than before, too. She cries a lot more, screams a lot more, and breaks stuff more often. Not to mention, she spits out food way more often than before, too, because food can be sensory overload for her. My parents have spent a lot of time and money trying to get her all the help she needs and trying to make life more comfortable and accessible for her. This comes at my expense a lot. I don't get to go out with my friends very much unless a friend can pay for me. My stuff is all secondhand, including my school laptop, which I needed for high school, that can do so little because it's so old and slow and takes forever to use. I don't get new clothes. I don't get nice gifts from my parents for birthdays and Christmas. They still try to spend time with me, or their treat for me is occasionally letting me get a dessert somewhere because we don't buy those anymore since they see it as money that can be saved and put to helping my sister. A few months ago, my parents learned about this program for autistic tweens and teens. It's expensive to join, and they don't offer any financial aid with it, but a lot of people swear it's a great resource for kids who could use help socializing, making new friends, and even learning how to handle emotional control again. They have therapists, psychologists, and adults with autism who have experience with this stuff to help the kids on top of the activities and stuff. They started saving, but it's such an expensive program. It happens after school and on weekends, and you can choose when your kid joins. 3 weeks ago, someone close to me gave me a gaming laptop. This laptop cost more than $1,000 and was the nicest thing anyone had ever given me. It really blew me away. I asked someone to keep it safe because I was worried my sister would break it. When my parents learned about it through another person, they suggested it would be better sold and that the money would be used for the program for my sister. I said no. They asked me why I needed something so expensive when it could be put to way better use. I told them I wanted the laptop and I could look forward to using it in a couple of years. They said it's selfish to think of wants over needs. I told them it was a gift for me and not my sister. They said I already have a laptop, and I brought up how it's basically a sloth. They said it still cost them $70, which is a lot for them. Then they told me I already had a job, so I could save and buy a laptop in a few years. But to think of how much that money would benefit my sister. I kept saying no, and my parents think I'm the idiot. Not the idiot. You can have nice things even if their value could be better used to support someone else in your family. Your parents are wrong to take things away from you to do more for your sister. In this case, what they want to do amounts to theft and conversion, which is taking your things without your permission and then using their value to pay for things they want. The fact that they're related to you doesn't make this sort of behavior okay. Please tell whoever gifted you the laptop what's going on and possibly talk to a counselor at school to see if you can find an adult who can intervene for you. Oh, the old "you have to give up everything for the special needs family member" situation. Guess what? You're not the parent. You're not responsible for caring or providing for your sister. First, they want you to sell the laptop. Then it'll be, you have a job. You can afford to give some of your pay to help your sister. Tell them they can sell the old laptop. Plus, I get the feeling the sister would be kicked out of the program quite quickly anyway. If her behavior is that troublesome, she spits, hits, breaks, and screams, they won't let her stay, as her staying could set off all the other kids and cause a lot of problems. I guarantee they have a lot of rules about what their child must be able to do, can do, and cannot do. And the parents are choosing to ignore it so they can pawn their kid off onto someone else 7 days a week. I, 31 female, am the oldest of 7, and the ages range from 18 to 31. 6 of us have partners or are married. 4 of us have a combined 13 children, aged between infant and tween. Our father is still alive, but our mother passed away a year ago. We are a traditional family in which women stay home to tend to the home, and the men go out to work. We have a family ranch where most of us live on the property, and we all pitch in. We also have a weekly dinner at Dad's house. I do have to say, because I know someone will bring it up, no, we're not Mormon. Now that that's out of the way, I have a brand new brother-in-law, Dan, 23 male. Dan and my sister just recently returned from their honeymoon and have started attending family dinners. Dan, being the great family man he is, refused to come to any of them before marriage. I'm not 100% sure why, and I never really cared to know. I can't say I ever liked him, but he had never done anything to cause it. So our last family dinner, we don't put all the food on the table. We have multiple tables. So instead, we fix everyone's plates in the kitchen, and everyone comes and grabs it as it's fixed. As such, we always fix the kids' plates first. The first time Dan saw this, he seemed kind of put off by it but didn't say anything. The second time it happened, he spoke up and voiced his frustrations, saying the men slave away in the heat all day, so they should be served first, that they were hungry. My dad asked him why a grown man would need to eat before his family got fed first. This quickly spiraled into an argument after emotions ran high. At one point, I finally yelled for everyone to shut up and sit down before telling Dan that until he was the one serving the food, the kids would eat first, and if I had my way, he would be served last at every family event again. The dinner ended quickly after, but now I'm wondering if I should have just fixed him a plate to end the argument. No, OP, you should not have just fixed him a plate to end the argument. Dan shouldn't have started the argument in the first place, especially at your dad's house, when your dad has already told him to quit it. Your response was the right one, including telling Dan that if you had your way, he'd be served last at every family event. Not the idiot. OP should get a baby's bib and a pacifier and keep it ready for the next time Dan gets upset at the kids being fed first. OP can whip out the bib and say, "Here you go, Dan. You were such a baby last time. We got this for you." He also cracks jokes about Dan eating at the kids' table since he wants to be served first. I'm astonished that the newest member, who's only 23 years old at that, is starting crap like this. I'm concerned about OP's sister. OP, you should mention your concerns to your father, who clearly has power here. That said, don't give in, but also let your dad deal with it because it seems like he's the head of your family, and Dan has no respect for any women.